Working at Chelsea is phenomenal. I love it. I've been working at Chelsea now, or I don't know, 12 years or so on and off, either doing show gardens myself or working with other people on gardens or project managing. And it's a fantastic environment to be in. I love it. I think people get kind of addicted. But this is the first time I've done such a small garden, really very small, 5 metres by 4. And then, you know, this is my first charity garden. And I'm enjoying the fact that, you know, it's in such a good cause and there are so many people it benefits. And somehow it just kind of takes some of the competitive edge off it and makes it a more enjoyable process. So for me, that's quite a nice luxury. Well, getting involved with the Haven seems quite some time ago now, and I'm not entirely sure how it came about. But of course, there's the new Haven being built in Titchfield, which is fairly local to me. And I think it was kind of like friends talking to friends who knew people and suggested that they might approach me to have a go. And I spoke to them, and actually I just thought it was a charming project and felt that, I'd really like to get involved. So it just really went from there. Well, I mean, interestingly, when you do a project like this, you ask from the sponsor or the client for a brief. You know, what's the garden? What's the story of the garden? What are you trying to tell people? And really, they left that open to me. And I visited the Haven, and it's actually quite instinctive in terms of how you respond. And I just started kind of throwing visual images and things onto paper. And it was this combination of the Haven being somewhere which was kind of embracing, it's healing, it's all-encompassing, it's comfortable. And then I started thinking about kind of strength and having the ability to kind of bear these sort of things under pressure. And that, to me, brought the oak tree. You know, it's a whole symbol of strength and longevity and, you know, the whole thing. And from that, I came round to, you know, the nest. That's what the Haven is. It's that place where you're comfortable. So this whole kind of thing built, really. And this whole concept of the oak leaf being somewhere where you can feel comfortable in a lovely environment, but quite symbolic as well. But the whole thing is supposed to be really, really simple. And this idea that you're not in a retreat, that's not the concept, but you're somewhere that you're embraced, you can see what's going on, you could be there on your own, or you can be with other people. Well, the garden itself is very simple. I mean, it hinges around the symbolic craggy or quirky quercus, as we call it, the oak tree, with this lounger which can take, you can be on your own enjoying yourself, or you can be here with a cup of tea or a glass of wine with 2 or 3 of you feeling quite comfortable. So the setting of it is woodland edge. So it's informal garden. Very soft planting, very what I would call very blousy, because the strength of this, you know, it's quite big in quite a small space. It's very strong in its structure and form. So to balance that, the planting's kind of blousy and soft and full. But then I've taken the colours that you find in the Haven, which is these really, really earthy sort of colours. Really what I call dirty colours, actually, the ochres and the sort of burnt oranges and the burnt pinks, those sort of colours, which are really, really nice. And yeah, they're really earthy. They feel very genuine and work in a very soft capacity. So in fact, the planting is really, really simple. But again, it's that embracing nature. You know, it feels, there are plants that I call huggable plants, you know, that you actually make you feel comfortable. So whereas this lounger, this oak leaf lounger, is doing that in a physical way, the plants are going to be quite emotive. But there are also plants in there which are used in homeopathic remedies. So there's a kind of 2 sides to it. But even things like the oak and the willow have their own symbolism in terms of homeopathy. So nearly all of the plants relate in some way to that, and to a kind of not only a homeopathic but also a kind of spiritual relationship with the plants. When I first got the concept and I wanted to do this nest, you know, the first that came to my mind was willow weaving, because nests are made of sticks. And so you've kind of got that symbolism. It's a fluid material, it's a natural material. So it seemed to fit entirely with that. And then I had to find somebody who I could work with as an artisan garden, I thought it was really important to have a craftsman and for it to be a combined effort rather than a designer and somebody just manufacturing something for me, because somebody skilled in this is going to be able to lead me in terms of what could actually be produced and to make the most of it. And I just web browsing really, and Tom came up, and I have seen his work before, and it was like, oh, so that's who does that sort of stuff. And because the whole sculptural element of what he does, I immediately engaged with that and thought, right, and I got on the phone to him and said, you know, would you be interested? And great to say, you know, he was. So that's how we kind of got together on it. And it's just, you know, whenever you have things made, it's kind of seeking people out who you feel are going to be simpatico, who have the same kind of vision of what you're doing, that you can kind of engage with.